Thank you, Kasturi. I would begin by thanking you again for giving me this opportunity and AIOS for giving us this platform to be discussing navigation guided lacrimal surgery. A tribute to all these people who have made this presentation possible. These are my financial disclosures. So somewhere in 2016, early 2016, we were able to put this terminology in literature, which is called as IGDL, image guided dacryo-localization, which encompasses all those maneuvers which are used to localize not only lacrimal sac, but other parts of the lacrimal drainage during any maneuver or while managing any disorder. Well, there is a lot of discussion that has already happened in terms of trauma that Kasturi has already shown, and Milind will show about foreign bodies. So I won't deal with those that deal with lacrimal trauma. So I thought I'll just exemplify the significance of using navigation in a complex congenital nasolacrimal duct obstruction. This is a 16-year-old girl, as you can see, who has a left eye fullness. There is an obvious microphthalmos with a coloboma that you see. There is a hypertelorism, there is cyanophorus, and obviously her main issue was that there was a discharge, and you can see Rhoplast is positive there on the left side. What has happened is that her left nasal cavity is hardly developed. You can see that there is a hypoplastic nares, there is a gross mid-facial hypoplasia, and there you can see an antimongoloid slant of the eyelids. So, and then you can see also a scar, which shows that there was a possible repair of cleft lip. There are a lot of dental anomalies that are being treated. You can see the palate is quite high arched. And this is showing a retinoporoidal coloboma. But if you look at that nasal cavity, the picture on your left, what do we see? We see that there is a nice septal perforation through which you actually see the middle turbinate of the opposite side, but there is no nasal cavity here. There's only the floor that is there, and that too is atretic floor. And at the end of it, you see a very tiny atretic posterior choana. If you look at the other normal nasal cavity, there is a large concha bullosa, and there you also see the same septal perforation that I was showing on the image on the left. Right, so it's a little complicated. Now the question is, if there is no nasal cavity like here, where are we going to do the DCR? So look at this radiological imaging here, where we see that the septum has perforation. As we found, there's a large concha bullosa on the right side, normal side. But the left, you don't find any discernible nasal cavity structures. You don't find any sinuses. All the sinuses are absent. And there you can see this is the right side sinuses. There's nothing in the left side, which also has the mucocele. So, and then when you go back and look, other than the lacrimal sac swelling, you also see a nice frontal process of maxilla, this is a transposed image, which is actually going and attaching to the nasal process of the frontal bone directly. This is an example where this is the axial cut, which is showing a large mucocele in that area. So what we are dealing with is what is called as congenital arrhythmia microphthalmia syndrome, sometimes also called as the Bosma syndrome. Now, Bosma syndrome is known to be associated with nasolacrimal duct obstruction, but the challenge here is how would you go ahead and do a DCR? So the target here is to go ahead and take the lacrimal drainage system of this side into the contralateral nasal cavity. So I'll just show you the video so that we can just finish our discussion in this video itself. There you see no nasal structures. You see a simple perforation through which you see the opposite gross concha bullosa. So what I'm using here is the NAV-PICO system of Karl Stoss. Now there you can see from the lacrimal sac, I am designing something which is called as a surgical roadmap, where I would like to get this lacrimal system into the contralateral nasal cavity. Now, so the reason of putting this surgical roadmap is that in case if I'm deviating from this surgical roadmap, the machine will let me know. And machine will not prevent you from doing anything, but it will just keep you alert at this point of time. So what I'm doing is I've taken a curvilinear incision just like anything. So this is the frontal process of maxilla that I was telling you, which was attached straight onto the glabella. So this is not a good idea to punch. So you don't see the typical antilacrimal test or anything, and you don't even expect that. You see this is showing me that I am right at that process, which is attached straight to the frontal bone. So what I'm doing is I'm drilling. Now, once you drill this area, you should not be expecting the nasal mucosa. What you would expect is directly onto the septum, because there was no nasal mucosa. The next structure is the septum only. So this is where you see the septum. You can also see a bit of the cartilage, septal cartilage that is there. Now I'm going to use the septum as a window. Right, look at this probe coming out. I have taken a lacrimal sac flaps just like how we do normally in an external DCR. Right, so that's there. That's, you see, is the septal cartilage. And I'm just confirming that it's the septum. And there the navigation shows that it's the septum that I'm touching. So now I'm going to use septal window and have two flaps of the septal window, because now the septum will act as an ostium. But the problem is that once I'm trying to tent that septal mucosa in front of the sac, I'm actually touching much beyond the concha bullosa. And that is expected because concha bullosa is much anterior. So what I'm doing now is middle turbinoplasty, because you need to get that ostium here into this side. At the same time, when you are doing this maneuver, there's already a septal perforation, as you can see inferiorly. So you don't want to join those septal perforations together, right? You want the ostium window to be away from the septal perforation, though that itself is a septal perforation, but you don't want a coalescing of two septal perforations for obvious reasons. Now there you see a large concha. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to preserve as much as septal, the middle turbinate mucosa that can be preserved. Now you see, this is the probe, that's the anterior flap of the sac. Now what I'm lifting is the flap of the septum, which will now come and join with the anterior lacrimal sac flaps. So I'm just going on the other side. That's the septal window. That's the middle turbinoplasty that's already been done. And what I'm doing is I'm using a Crawford from the opposite, the canalicular system into this contralateral nasal cavity. And once we do that, just make sure that the middle turbinate is well mucosalized. And if you see that opening is much higher and it is not coalescing with the septal perforation that's there. Just make sure that you don't, remove a little bit of these exposed bones, because they can cause granulomas or reactive osteitis, which we don't want in the postoperative period. There you see, that's the end of the surgery. And this is an example of seeing that at 4 weeks, that is a septal perforation downstairs. There is a nice bridge of the septum, which is a good thing. And there you see the ostium over here. So what do you see in the ostium here? There's a little bit of the granulation tissue that's around the internal common opening. The tissue itself around is a little bit granulomatous, which obviously would need management. There you see the irrigation fluorescein endoscopic dye test is showing the movements of the common canaliculus onto the septum now, which is a little, it's a little uncommon to find that. Now what I'll do is at the end of 3 months, I'm going to show it to you with a direct 70-degree telescope. This is a 70-degree telescope. So you're seeing lateral wall. There you see the original septal perforation. And there you see a beautiful ostium on the septum. And these are the air bubbles that are coming from the contralateral ocular surface when the patient is trying to blink. There you see it's well mucosalized, quite dynamic and beautiful internal common opening. This is described, and you can read this paper for further details about the surgical techniques. So in conclusion, I would say that complex CNLDO in this context of navigation is getting, it's not that it was not common, it's just that we are increasingly diagnosing it now. And these kind of cases, especially like Bosma syndrome, need meticulous clinical examination and preoperative planning. And now you have seen how navigation actually helps in these surgeries. Otherwise, these are really as good as impossible to do surgeries. And there's a lot of risk in doing that. And ultimately, while we all, Kasturi, me, will all talk about navigation today, what is important for all of us to remember is that the anatomy that you have in your brain is the most important thing. And these are adjuncts to help us They will not be able to replace the surgeon's skills intraoperatively. But if you use all of these together, it usually leads to fruitful outcomes. This is the next level challenge where navigation would help us. What would you do if you don't even have either of the nasal cavity? Then what would you do? That's where we'll discuss sometimes else. Thank you very much.